if you need to descale your Breville dual boiler and you're in a hurry, or you don't want to take apart the unit, or let's say you're worried that it's going to overheat or cause any of the problems that we all know that happen with a dual boiler, then I have an alternative that's, I think, is going to work really well. So here's what I do. I obviously empty the tray. That's very straightforward. I heat up the unit, let's say, to just use it normally. Let's say I'm done making my coffee, and then I'm gonna just turn the machine off. I'll let it sit, not until it's cold, but still a little bit hot. So maybe 45 minutes to an hour. After 45 minutes to an hour, it's still going to be fairly warm. Water is going to flow freely, and whatever pieces, if you have pieces of mineral deposits at the bottom of the boiler around this area, around this level here, it'll be easier for them to be dislodged or to flow through the release valve. And I'll open only the steam boiler valve, drain valve. Water is going to come out and fill this tray, I'd say probably close to 50-60%. So that's the amount of water you should expect to come out of this boiler. Then I will close this and fill it up with a citric acid solution. You can fill it up through here, or you can fill it up directly in the tank and then put the tank back. You don't need an awful lot of it. I'd say 1.5 liters maximum, but not even that much. You need enough descaling solution to fill up the steam boiler, and you're gonna let it fill up. Next step, the machine is gonna heat up to operating temperature, and what's gonna happen is everything is going to work as normal. You just don't want to make any, you don't want to run that descaling solution through the brew boiler, which is, in this area here. You're not going to do any hot water. And I know I'm showing you the Oracle, but it works the same way with the dual boiler. On the dual boiler, your hot water valve is right here. But on the Oracle, it's here. Anyway, the internals, as far as the boilers are concerned, are pretty much identical. So what you're going to do next is you're going to run some steam. So basically, you're going to open it up, let it run for a while, and then you're going to close it. And then turn it off and let it sit for a while. Empty whatever water is left in the tank, fill it up with fresh water, and again, drain the descaling solution through here. Very straightforward. You put your screwdriver here and open it up slowly. After 45 minutes to an hour, it's going to be still warm, but not boiling. Don't open this immediately after you've turned it off, because you are going to see a lot of steam coming out of here, and it's dangerous. You're guaranteed to burn your hand if you do that, so you've been warned. Once the boiler is completely drained, drain your drip tray, close this little valve here. Again, you're not touching the left one, only the right one. So we're having water, or rather descaling solution, go only through this path, from the tank, through the small pump. I know I'm showing you where the pump is, but you cannot see it. So through the small pump to the steam boiler. not through the other circuit that gives you coffee and hot water, just the steam circuit, where actually you're going to find 90% or 99% of the damage caused by mineral deposits. Okay, so at this stage, we have the boilers empty. We closed this. We have fresh water in the tank, and we're going to turn on the machine. Let's see what happens. The machine's fairly cold, and we're going to hear the pump. There she is. So the pump starts to fill up the boiler. Now, I don't know the amount of time that's going to take for the boiler to fill up with fresh water, but once this video is recorded, I'm going to time it, and I'm going to amend the video with that amount of time. If you watch the water level closely, you're going to see that it goes down very slowly. And this is going to be, why is the amount of time important? You want to make sure that the machine stops. Basically, this shows you that the water level probes in the steam boiler here are doing what they're supposed to do, basically stop it. So when that amount of time has passed, it should stop pumping water into the boiler. So while this is happening, while the boiler is filling up, the machine is heating up both boilers. So you still have to be careful. The machine should be filling up the boiler. If you, by any chance, turn on the unit and you don't hear this pump, then for some reason you either have no water there, watch your fill tank warning somewhere on the screen here, or something is preventing it from filling up. So be careful. If you don't hear that, turn it off, because there's a chance your machine might be heating up the steam boiler and while there's no liquid in the boiler. You don't want that. So turn it off if that happens, and try to figure out why your machine isn't, or why your pump rather isn't filling up. There she goes. She stopped. Water level is pretty low, so about I think it's 800 milliliters. Again, I probably should have looked this up before recording the video, but I didn't. So now we have fairly clean water in the boiler. It's not 100% clean because there's probably some residual descaler solution left in the boiler. We want to rinse that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this machine heat up, and I'm going to play with the steam. I'm going to let steam, let's say 99% clean water steam, go through the steam wand. And again, I'm going to let the unit cool down once I've done this. Even at this stage, I don't want to run any hot water or coffee. The reason being, there's maybe a little bit of citric acid left in the pipes. I don't want that to be sucked into this secondary system, so I'd rather leave it alone. I know I'm being a little bit paranoid, but I'm going to run these only after I've done this rinsing, and I'm going to fill the boiler again. In a few minutes, this temperature is going to reach whatever I set it at. So we skipped a little ahead, and the machine is now filled with more fresh water. It's heated up, and we can run some clean water through the system. Steam is working fine. It doesn't smell like citric acid anymore. The water is reasonably clean. But me being a little bit extra careful, I'm going to let the machine cool off. So I'm just gonna turn it off. And in another 45 minutes to an hour, I'm going to empty it by opening this right side drain valve, and I'm gonna let it fill up again. And by the way, I timed the amount of time that it takes for the boiler to fill up. It is exactly 2 minutes. So your pump should stop within 2 minutes, provided that your boiler is empty. Okay, so it's been 45 minutes to an hour. Didn't time it exactly, but it's not hot anymore. So we're gonna empty the boiler. So grab my 30-year-old screwdriver and let's open this little thing slowly, just to make sure, in case there's any steam or anything. Don't do this without the tray in place, without this grill in place, especially when it's hot, because you are guaranteed to burn your hand. I've opened it once when it was under a little bit of pressure and the steam came out. It was pretty scary. I wouldn't want to open this up when it's hot. There's literally no pressure now. So just gonna open it all the way. The water's still warm. I can feel it even after a good amount of time, close to an hour, or let's say a bit less than an hour. The water is still quite warm. I can see a little bit of debris floating in there. I don't know if it's dislodged from the not extremely clean tray, or if it came from the boiler. Normally you would see white mineral deposits, but I guess whatever was dirty in there is coming out. So this is pretty close to empty. I never actually weighed how much water comes out of this, so I'm gonna do this when I have both hands free. I'm quite intrigued to see if it's close to 800 milliliters, which I believe is the capacity of the steam boiler. But I'm going to do this experiment and post the number, the exact weight of water that came out. So at this point, I'm just going to close this. And this is pretty much it. I mean, if I wanted to see if this has acid, citric acid in it, I could just, dip the finger in it and taste it. But I'm pretty sure it's quite clean. That being said, I'm just gonna plug in my dual boiler, and I hope I have enough water in there. We'll find out. Okay, I do. And this is pretty much the end of it. Now, I'm kind of assuming that the boiler is going to fill up to the correct amount. Again, I have to keep in mind that not everything works 100% of the time. So it's a good idea when you're at the stage to time it and make sure that it stops at around 2 minutes after you've turned it off. So, after you turned it on, sorry. So basically, this will tell you that the probes are detecting the correct level of water in the steam boiler. So all you have to do is start a stopwatch on your iPhone or Android phone or whatever. Use timer if you have something like that handy, but I think the phone's easiest to use, and make sure that it stops at around the 2-minute mark. I'm not timing it right now. I'm working under the assumption that this is going to work perfectly. We'll see if the machine proves me wrong. So the pump stopped after exactly 2 minutes. I can hear the boiler heating up. It's not super loud, which is probably a good thing. And it's always a good idea to listen to that sound. You should be familiar with the noises that your machine makes at startup. This one has a cooling fan at the back, so that kind of makes it a bit more difficult to hear the boiler, but I can still hear when it makes a little bit of noise as it's heating up the water, and then it becomes quieter towards the end of the range here when it reaches 196 to 200 Fahrenheit. I did go ahead and weigh my water, and it's exactly 500 milliliters or 500 grams that came out of the boiler. So that kind of makes sense because it's not filled up to the maximum. So I would assume that it is correct. As I fix more machines, I'm gonna repeat this experiment to see if they all are around that 500 milliliter mark. At this point, if I do this, there's some steam. Beep, beep, beep means it's not up to temperature yet. It takes a while to heat up this little guy because we just pumped a full amount of cold water in it. So it's not ready. Well, it is now. So that's a good sign. Steam looks decent. It's not as great as the original dual boiler, but it does the job. So at this point, your descaling should be done. You shouldn't have any issues. If you want to be 100% sure that you have clean water on both paths, you can run some hot water, or you can run a little bit of a shot for a few seconds. Make sure the water doesn't taste like citric acid. Of course, you're using food grade citric acid, so it should be safe. Obviously, you're not going to drink it, but that's just one way to find out if your water is clean. But it should be, if you follow these steps, it should be clean, and your machine should be descaled and ready to make espressos and lattes. I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know your thoughts after you follow this process. Thanks.